Welcome back. We're here to look ahead to Sunday's match in the Premier League between Stoke City and Liverpool on the final day of the season. Matt, let's start with Liverpool. Last time out, it was obviously a massive game at Anfield. Steven Gerrard's farewell, and it didn't go to plan at all.
No, I didn't go to plan. He obviously got the send off after the game and before the game and everything. But the actual game itself didn't go as Gerrard wanted, didn't go as Liverpool would have wanted. It was he welcomed Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace had been in poor form. He'd fancied to get off to. Well, they did get off to a decent start. The line got the goal, didn't he? And poor defending from Palace, but Liverpool never really kicked on from then. They conceded before half time, didn't they, with that punch and free kick, which was brilliant. And then obviously Palace scored twice more in the second half. And the game itself was, at the back, Liverpool had some problems and going forward. It's been the story of their season in terms of scoring goals. Jerome Sinclair came on, didn't he, late on, but he's had a couple of sub appearances recently, made his debut against Chelsea the week before. But talk about where Liverpool are on the table, 7 points off fourth. Now, obviously, their challenge when a couple of weeks ago when they were 6 points and 14 goal difference behind it was, as it transpired, obviously United drew with Arsenal and Liverpool lost to Palace, so it went anywhere. They're sitting seventh, and like I say, they're sitting fifth in the table at the minute, 2 points above seventh, and if they finish as low as seventh. Fifth sounds a lot better than seventh, doesn't it? I know it's only two places, but to finish just outside that top four, and looks like it's going to be Europa League again for Liverpool this season, which is, well, I say again, they obviously were in the Champions League and went into that, but it's difficult to see, what they're going to do in the summer, because like you say, pushing to the top four is difficult, isn't it? You fancy Chelsea, City and Arsenal to be there again. Manchester United will spend big and sitting fifth at the moment. Disappointing defeat last time out, and the last game you want is really one of the last games you want is to go to Stoke, because Stoke obviously at home are a good team, so it's a difficult last game for Liverpool.
Yeah, it's obviously not been the way they wanted to finish, and I think with that Steven Gerrard farewell, it's quickly been sort of overtaken in terms of Liverpool headlines by the Raheem Sterling news. His agent's come out. I think he said, he does want to leave. He feels he's been bullied into trying to sign this new deal, but he's still young. He started the season well. He had a really good season last season, but for me, the second half of the season, he hasn't looked anywhere near the player he was sort of first half of the season and last season. He's saying like the agent come out and said, I think he's been bullied into a deal by Liverpool, but 100 grand a week, I think it was that he was sort of offered by Liverpool for a player of his age. That's silly money, and I think he's doing this the wrong way, Sterling. I think. He's a bright player. He won the Golden Boy Award. The sports writers across Europe vote for their sort of best young player across Europe. I think he won that last year. But that's promising. But he certainly hasn't. He's not quite. He's nowhere near the bracket of sort of like a, even one of the sort of best players in Europe or best. And he's nowhere near that bracket at the moment. And for me, I think Liverpool's just the right club for him at the moment. Say if he went to a club like say a Chelsea or a City, he wouldn't be a regular starter. For Liverpool, he's one of their main focal points going forward, and it certainly gives him the chance to say if he doesn't see himself at Liverpool, I think he's talk he'd rather be in sort of London. He'd prefer to live in London, but if he wants to get out of Liverpool in the next 2-3 years, I think Liverpool's the right club for him, because he can play a lot more there. He'll certainly get a lot more chances to impress than he would if he went to like an Arsenal. I know Wenger's talked highly of him. If he went to Arsenal, the amount of attacking talent Arsenal have behind the striker, in that sort of playmaking line, they've got a lot of talent there. He wouldn't start every week for Arsenal, and it's just he's really done himself no good at all with the Liverpool fans. He got jeered at the Liverpool Players Awards on Tuesday night, so it's not looking good for him at the moment, and it looks like he'll be off this summer. But for me personally, I think it's a bad move for him if he does leave. I just can't see his career progressing as much as it would if he'd stayed at Liverpool.
It almost seems like he's in a rush to do things, isn't it? Like, so he's still young, he's in a rush to earn all this money, and say £100,000 a week at the age he is ludicrous, really. When you talk about, like, say he's a decent player. I think a few people said it. He's a good player. He's not a great player at the moment. He could be a great player, but you never know. But got 7 league goals this season, 7 assists, I think, which is okay. Is that enough to really be demanding? The money he's demanding, not for me. But look elsewhere for Liverpool. We spoke about their goals. They've got 101 league goals last season, 51 this season. Sterling's got 7, Barini 1, Ricky Lambert 2, Balotelli 1. This is the league. Daniel Sturridge 4. I think he's only played 12 times with injury. Gerrard 8. So obviously it's not. You don't take a rocket science to realise where they need to strengthen next season. You wonder whether you think Balotelli will be off, Lambert will probably be off, Barini almost went. Then he got linked with QPR in the summer transfer and the January as well. So you'd expect them to go, and they're talking about who they're going to get in, but. It's just the Sterling thing just leaves a bad taste ahead of this game, and he's probably playing this game, Sterling, but you wonder what his teammates think of him now, because it's not an ideal situation, and it sort of puts a little dampener on the end of the season for Liverpool.
Yeah, certainly. It was never going to be. They were so close to winning the league last season, Liverpool, weren't they? But it was never going to be as easy this season. Losing Suarez, who's sort of proven himself to be one of the top 5 players in the world really since he's gone to Barcelona, so that was always going to be a big blow for them. And Sturridge being injured a lot of the campaign, it was always going to be tough. But I think on the whole for Liverpool, if they finish fifth, I think the players they lost, and I think it'd still be an okay campaign, but certainly underwhelming. But when you compare that to Stoke, who they play here, Stoke have had a very impressive campaign under Mark Hughes. They drew 0-0 with Burnley last week, and that got them, I think, their record points total in the Premier League, 51 points. They had 50 last year, so they've improved this season. And you have to say Mark Hughes done a fantastic job there. You look at some of the other teams that in and around them, sort of them, Swansea, Southampton, all had great seasons, those three. And last week against Burnley, not a great result, but second clean sheet in a row for them after they beat Spurs 3-0 the week before. So ended the season pretty strongly and guaranteed to finish ninth now. They're not going to. I think that maybe the goal for them in the next couple of years is trying to get into the Europa League, get their fans a bit of European football, and do maybe say what Southampton have done this season. But on the whole for Stoke, fantastic campaign for them, and like I said, record points total, which is a great achievement.
Yeah, it's a great achievement. Like I say, if they get another 3 points here, that bumps it up even further, and makes it look, obviously, like you mentioned, they're going to finish ninth. But think about the players who had this season. Obviously, we spoke about a lot. Bojan getting injured at the stage he did was obviously really disappointing. But Diouf, Mam Diouf, it didn't really work out for Manchester United. Coming, he's got 9 league goals. When you think about it, if he can get him another one here, double figures, not bad. Crouch and Walters. Peter Crouch has not been in the team that much second half of the season. Jonathan Walters always offers you something different. They were both on 7 of the next top goal scorers. So they've got some decent players up front. Been wondering what they do in the summer. The goalkeeping situation is obviously the big one for me. Begovic has been linked with, who hasn't even linked with Real Madrid, Manchester United, Liverpool. Everyone's sort of after him. Tottenham maybe if Lloris goes, and Jack Butland. They've got obviously who's a very good young goalkeeper, and he's been given the chance the last couple of games. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this one, whether he'll play Butland again. I think if he does play Butland, that's a good sign that Begovic is going to leave, because you wonder whether, what's the point of leaving him out if you're not preparing for next season. If Begovic is not going to sit on the bench next season, they'd rather get, if they get 12 million for him, whatever they're talking about, then that's obviously the big one. And a home form this season been okay. They've won 9, they've lost 6 times at home, but something to improve on this season. But you look at their form overall, won 14, drawn 9, lost 14. So maybe lost a few too many games, but if they can turn a few of them into draws next season, like say, and push for maybe the top 7, then that'd be what they have their eye on.
Yeah, really solid campaign. I think Butland one's interesting. Young English goalkeeper. I think there's no harm in wanting to try and make him your number one over the next couple of years. He's been selected for the England under-21 squad for the European Championship. If he can have a good tournament there, I think it'd be a decent move. I mean, for me, if he's a decent goalkeeper, I think a goalkeeper's a goalkeeper. They'll win you a few points here and there, but I think it wouldn't make that much difference if you made Butland your number one. I think Begovic. I think he'd be a perfect player for Chelsea. If say Petr Cech's leaving, I think it'd be a great backup, to Courtois at Chelsea. But it's whether Begovic has proven himself to be a great keeper. It's whether at this stage of his career, if he wants to, it'd be a nice life for him in London. Back up a great club like Chelsea. But does he want to become a number one goalkeeper, or is he content with, say, going to Chelsea and becoming just their number 2 and maybe their cup goalkeeper? Interesting. But I think Butland, great keeper. When he was on loan at Derby in the Championship earlier this season, he had some fantastic games for them. Won a lot of points for Derby earlier this season, and if he can have a good tournament, the under-21s, certainly, I think he'd be a good keeper for them. But what's your score prediction for this game?
To be honest, I mean, you fancy Liverpool on any other sort of season, but I just don't think they're playing well enough to go to Stoke and win. You need to play well to go and win at Stoke. Certainly, like I mentioned, Stoke's home form has been a bit patchy, but you do need to go there and play well if you're going to win. And I can only see a Stoke win. To be honest, I think Stoke win is 2-1.
2-1. I think Liverpool, they might go there and just get a point. I think last week's defeat at Hunts Palace was really disappointing, especially Gerrard. But obviously this is going to be Gerrard's last Liverpool game. I know it's not his last home game. There won't be as much sort of there won't be as much of a sort of Gerrard showpiece. But I think it's still a big game for him, and I think Liverpool might just get a point out of this one. We'll go for a 1-1 draw. So got 1 Stoke win and a 1-1 draw. Thanks for watching.